It is very wet in here today. So, we were heating up the pool last night with the expectation that we would get a visit in the morning to dive the pool and check the drain. There was a miscommunication, and the diver did not arrive in the morning, and it actually took until 4 o'clock for them to arrive. Once we reached a certain point in the low 80s, we started having evaporation in here. And it's interesting because with the old windows, we would basically get condensation on the windows, but we didn't. Instead, the chilliest part of the room that started to get condensation was the floor. So the floor is real wet right now. Which you probably can't tell very well, especially over here. Basically, I open up all the windows and I have the fan running pretty high in order to try and move some air in here and get it out. We have the dehumidifier, but if we can't close the pool, it's difficult for the dehumidifier to catch up, and we still have no auto cover, so we can't cover it. So, it's just going to be kind of wet in here until I can dry it out. But the big question is, what happened? So we got the pool to 80 degrees, and the guy got here, and they've got like a breathing apparatus and everything, and he goes down, and he says that it is unbearably cold at the bottom of the pool, because of course, as would make sense, the warm water is all on top of the pool, and down in the depths it is still probably around 57 to 60 degrees. And he basically said that at that temperature he really can't breathe through the breathing apparatus, so he was struggling through it, and he managed to get the lid off and check in there, and it sort of explains what went wrong here. So in a traditional pool, you have two drains. You have the skimmer over there that gets the surface, and you have the main drain at the bottom that is pulling water, sort of the water volume. Our pool does not have a main drain. It only has the skimmer, and then it has the spa inlet as well. So we are only drawing water into the machinery from the skimmer and the spa. They did not know this. So in the main drain down there, there's a drain plug, and then there's a sort of like inlet plug. There's a drain hole and an inlet hole, which would normally go to the machinery. But in ours, it just goes out into the ground. So the guys who were doing the pool did not realize this, and they closed the drain plug, but they left the machinery one open, which is what water has been pouring out of for the last 4 days or so. So he managed to get the cage off and get the plug in, one short dive at a time in the cold, and he basically said he can't get it back on because he can't get those screws back in the cage, so he's just going to come back when we actually have the pool warm again. But we've been holding really well, I think, since then. I haven't really touched the pool at all, and I have not really noticed any movement on the spa. It was around the just that tile edge before, and that's where it is right now. So good. Crisis averted. It's a silly mistake. It's one of those things where it's just like, and I talked to the guy about it. He's like, this isn't uncommon. Like, this is a thing that pools sometimes are done this way, especially older pools where something went wrong down there, and rather than like if you had a pipe problem down there, you can't access that. So your only option there is to plug it. So that's probably what happened at some point in this pool's life. They had a pipe problem down there and they just plugged it. And it's just like, probably should ask. It's sort of been a fairly consistent issue here of communication where like it would be better for everyone involved if they just got a little bit of clarification from us, and we could have skipped a lot of unnecessary effort. But I guess all's well that ends well, or something like that. It's not really very beneficial to focus on the negatives. We at least we're holding water so far, and we didn't have to cut up any of the concrete, so I'm going to call that a win. And I think I've turned off the heater again, and they're going to proceed with the brushing starting again tomorrow, and I think it's going to be pretty much that for the next 10 days or so, and then we can actually turn on the heat and start using this thing. I still don't know when the cover's going to show up, and I'm hoping that'll be somewhere in the near future because that'll really help. But at this point, this thing will cool back down over time and stop evaporating, and at that point we'll have a lot more control over what's going on in the atmosphere of this room. So that's the story.